Welcome to What Crisis? Fully living in your midlife and beyond. I'm your host, Dan Johansson. What Crisis offers insight and guidance on living an intentional life for people who find themselves on a journey of growth in their middle years. Is there a crisis? Absolutely. The crisis of realizing you're literally on the backside of your life and you haven't truly been living. Whether you're looking to grow into a better version of yourself, or to find or strengthen your loving relationships, or maybe just learn how to give yourself the permission to lead a purpose-driven life with joy and grace, you'll learn something new every episode. So come along for the ride. Well, hey there. Let's talk about the truth, the power and the cost of wielding it unapologetically, willfully, and with purpose. In a previous episode, we talked about masks and the insidious ways we get used to weaving unconscious lies into our daily lives from a young age. But what if living an intentional life started with a commitment to truth-telling all the time, no matter the effect? There's a lot to unpack here, so let's start easy. What I'm talking about is living with authenticity, integrity, and honesty. If you've seen the film Liar, Liar, you'll remember it's the story of a man who finds himself literally incapable of lying. It's Jim Carrey, so of course hijinks ensue, but it has a tender heart and a poignant message based on a man who must tell the truth and face any consequences from his actions. So he changes. He lives better. He does better. Now, if you were incapable of lying, would you live your life differently? I'll argue that this would be a most definite yes. Think about it. You show up late for a meeting at work and would normally throw out the usual excuse of traffic or your last meeting was running late, whatever. When in all reality, you were watching stupid shit on TikTok that your friend sent you. If you were committed to truth-telling and you had to walk in the door and say, hey, I'm late because I was watching videos of dogs on TikTok, would you have actually been late? If you were held to a level of accountability that required the truth, would you approach what you do differently? It's really interesting food for thought, but within this idea of truth-telling is actually a foundation for building trust with the people in your life. This is really important, particularly in romantic relationships. So let's go there for a bit. I first came across the idea of radical honesty reading Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's a great book. In the book, he describes this level of honesty as the core of trust he's built with his wife. In his example, he writes about the agreement they have together to speak the truth, even in ways where we'd normally sugarcoat it to avoid conflict. The whole loaded question of, hey, does this dress make my ass look big? Kind of thing. Answered with what might be an uncomfortable yes? They did ask, right? In this, he says, if I tell her, she usually gets pissed off and spouts a bunch of 4-letter words in my direction. But then he goes on to explain why he does this, why they do this. He says, because honesty in my relationship is more important to me than feeling good all the time. The last person I should have to censor myself with is the woman I love. He continues, without conflict, there can be no trust. Conflict exists to show us who is there unconditionally and who is just there for the benefits. Powerful stuff. His position of building an unbreakable bond of truth between them is that if you live your life willing to tell all truths, including ones where white lies would have been so much easier, would that not reinforce and support a fully trusting, open, and honest relationship? That's authentic. That's living with integrity. It seems simple, but ridiculously hard and inconvenient, doesn't it? But what if living with authenticity and truth opens you up to a life more aligned with your happiness? Living fully and truthfully with yourself and the people in your life can be so powerful, both in supporting loving relationships and opening your eyes to ones that actually might not be so healthy or good for you. And trust me, I wish I'd learned this perspective years ago. Perhaps the lessons learned wouldn't have been as messy for me and the people that I've lied to, as we all do. And the truth reaches out to all aspects of our lives. We often overextend ourselves to things or people with whom we feel some sort of debt. So once again, we bullshit. We lie our way around, let's say, why we didn't want to go to that party, or we put up with something or someone that makes us uncomfortable or unhappy, ironically, because telling the truth about it might make them or us feel uncomfortable. But the reality is, you'll live in your truth much better if you honor yourself. And you don't always have to explain or offer up a why. Sometimes you can hold your boundaries with a simple no thank you, with no further explanation needed. Being respectful in your truth is just as important as the truth itself. So how about we see truths, uncomfortable or otherwise, as liberation? They may be difficult to release, but I promise, once you do, both you and the truth are set free. Being authentic requires a commitment to yourself, to living with integrity. And it's also a powerful way to set yourself free from living a life full of things that don't serve you, so you can be authentically you. Listen, lies are often an easy way to step around something you'd rather not say or deal with, but they're a complete avoidance of reality, a tool of manipulation. We play this game where we think we're protecting someone from an uncomfortable truth, but in reality, we're only protecting ourselves from any ramifications that truth might have. What we're actually doing is robbing the other person from making an independent choice, knowing all there is to know. And that's manipulation by definition. And that's not how we treat the people we care about, right? But the truth is a beautiful thing when wielded well and with love and respect, when it becomes important like the air you breathe. You say what you mean, your actions match, and you own it. You live it. And with the people in your life, you offer them a safe container to speak their truth as well, all the time. When reciprocated, this balance of truth and safety is the foundation to every strong relationship. And at this crisis point in our life, don't we all deserve those kinds of relationships and nothing less? Damn straight we do. See you next time. Thanks for listening and spending part of your day with me. If you like what you hear on the podcast, please subscribe. And if you're so inclined, since you like it anyway, please leave a kind review. For more information, follow me on danjohansen.com, where you'll also find a link to my brand new book, The Way In, which is out and available right now.